took him like 4 years of Trump, 4 years of just people spreading bullshit on social media to start flagging stuff like that. And like, you know, like we know what Facebook's been going through with like their lawsuits and whatnot, but
selling our souls
just to spread
bullshit.
Yep. Got people believing
whatever.
nasty stuff.
Whatever gets clicks.
Oh yeah.
Talked about it 2 episodes ago with the social dilemma. 3 episodes ago.
Yep.
Yeah, just whatever gets clicks, they'll put on the right side because they know what you're gonna look at.
Is Twitter gonna miss Trump? President Trump.
I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. I think he's gonna be out there more.
What is he gonna be tweeting though?
Who knows?
He was tweeting before he was president too.
Exactly.
But everyone paid attention when he was president.
Oh yeah.
Though. I paid attention to all the little details about Trump and his family and everything like that.
You gonna miss him?
I'm Canadian, man. Like, nah, I'm definitely not gonna miss him. I'm definitely not gonna miss him. I'm pretty
Sounds like
sure
you're a fan.
I'm pretty sure on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Honestly, that's it. Honestly, I was in my snap memories, and because I take pictures of some books that I want to read, and I took a picture of a Donald Trump book, Think Like a Champion.
You deleted that quick.
I didn't delete it, but I was like,
you were really thinking like a champion then.
I was like, do I really want to read this book? Because I respected him in a way as a business person before the whole president's thing. Like, sure, I could learn a lot from this guy. He's one of the premier businessmen in America during that time. And I still learn a lot from him, but like, I don't know. It's just, I could get my info somewhere else now, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Great choice, Ian.
If you want to learn how to sell arms to other countries, I'm sure you could learn from Donald Trump. But
learn a lot from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Some nasty stuff, but.
Well, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Hector, and I'm joined here by some lovely gentlemen. I got Ian here. I got Raz here. I got my man Joe behind the camera. Say what up, Joe. What's good, Joe? And welcome to The Bottom Line, where we learn, grow, and connect through topics about business, finance, entrepreneurship, fashion, and life in general. Today, me and the guys are going to be speaking about the U.S. election, team dynamics, and business. And finally, the NBA season starting in December 22nd. So, guys, how is everyone's week been? Keeping up with the election?
It's been a stressful week, man. I think everybody's kind of had the same week.
We didn't cheers, though. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got to do
really
that.
Can't start yet, yeah. Cheers. It's another successful episode. Joe, cheers. Yeah, I think everybody's been kind of doing the same thing all week, just refreshing your phone or your Twitter, your Twitter feed, whatever, however you get your information. But I think everybody's kind of stuck at seeing 264 for a while. Yeah. You're waiting for Nevada to get those votes. Yeah, 214, whatever the number was, because it was stuck at a number for a while.
Yeah.
And
what's it at now? Like 270 or 290? Nice.
Still waiting on 2 states.
Yeah.
Which ones?
So you're saying Trump still has a chance, right? No, it doesn't.
Maybe in
like
2024.
Can you do that?
I think he can. Depending on what he's saying the next 2 months. Like, well,
Yeah.
but wouldn't that be crazy if he did come back and win in 2024? Wouldn't that be absolutely nuts, though?
Biden and Kamala Harris really got to fuck it up for the next 4 years.
That would be insane.
Like,
that
really
would be
badly.
like.
You think he'd get 8 years? Is that how it works?
No, I think he'd have to be done after those 4.
Biden?
You think so?
Biden
Or Trump?
Trump, like if he wins back again in 2024.
I think he'd be done.
No, you can only do 2 terms.
Oh, in general?
Okay, I didn't know if that sounds like a pretty crazy rule, like do
take
4,
like a year off.
take 4 years off, go back for 8, maybe run again.
Oh my goodness.
This guy's 95, still running.
Still kicking and being racist.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, people are saying racism's done because Trump's out of office now.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
Like he packed his bag of racism
Yeah,
and
There's
dipped out.
still 45% of the country.
out.
There's still 45%
All right,
of the
America,
country
we're all
voted.
good.
We're good here. Mike Pence got his bag of racism, getting out of there too. It's hilarious.
Oh, man.
Still 45 or 40% of the country that voted for him. So
Exactly. That's the craziest part.
so it ain't going anywhere.
Oh
Like,
no.
How many total votes for Trump?
What was it? 75 for Biden, 75 million for Biden, 71 for Trump.
That's
So,
that's a crazy amount.
yeah,
That's nasty.
71 million people said, "Yup,
that's my guy.
that's my guy."
More people voted for him this time than last time, too.
Wow.
Really?
But I think the good thing is that a lot more people just voted
Voted
in general.
Yeah, didn't Biden get the most votes of any president?
Ever. It's the most
Yep.
biggest voter turnout in the history.
Good.
I think that's dope because I think that sets a precedent for like years to come, and especially for the younger generations, for them to be involved, so involved in an election at a young age. Hopefully that's like the start of something for them, and like learning how important their vote is again at a young age. I think bodes well for the future, where we hopefully don't have to run into situations where, at least this is a personal opinion, where we don't have like someone like Trump getting in office, you know, because it could have been prevented in the last election, right? But like
People were voting for D's nuts and Harambe.
These nuts in Harambe
yeah,
really
the
stole the
turnout
election.
wasn't as big as this one. People didn't think Trump was gonna win, so they
Exactly.
just brushed it off like, I don't need to vote. I don't really mess with Hillary, so I'm not gonna vote or whatever
Hillary,
it
yeah.
was.
No, the names really stuck last time. Like Sleepy Joe, I don't think sticks as well as Hillary does. Like Hillary really sticks, especially when you back it up with all the other stuff that she did with the
Yeah.
emails and everything that dropped right before the election. I think Trump was waiting for one of those, and I don't think going into like family matters, like Trump or the crime family, the Biden crime family or whatever. I don't think finding laptops of Joe Biden's son and all that other stuff is really going to change the election as much as it did 4 years ago when Hillary was found with the laptop with all the hidden documents and emails and stuff like that. I think they were expecting it to really hit home just like last 4 years ago, but I don't think people cared.
Yeah.
I think people knew what kind of kid Joe had and, you know, the struggles that he went through and stuff like that. And I don't think, other than that, the guy in the meme, I don't think a lot of people think that there's a Biden crime family.
Big mafiosos, bro. Oh man, that's dope. That that Biden's been able to win that, because I feel like it's kind of like it's a big reset for the not just the U.S. but I feel the whole world. Because everyone was glued to that election result. It wasn't just Americans, it was Canadians. I saw people, like, you go on Twitter, there's people in the UK tweeting about it, this, that. Like, it was like a show for literally everyone on Earth, just to see what was going to go down.
And you guys know, like, I like to travel as much as I can. This year, obviously, couldn't do that because of COVID. But even I remember in 2016 when Trump got elected, and it's just like you see Americans in other parts of the world and you ask them where they're from, it's like, oh, I'm from the States, but I didn't vote for Donald Trump. You know, they always have to preface that. And they were doing that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I could only imagine how it is now. Like, I remember meeting people in California, like, which obviously, meeting people from California, they're never going to say they wanted to vote Trump. But, like, those people were always just like, oh, what do Canadians think about America? Like, now that we voted in Trump, like, everybody wanted their opinion, like, on what people thought about Trump and stuff. And we were talking about this before the episode started. But this guy, all he needed is Twitter, like, and he's able to get his message across to so many people. Like, he's done something that I don't think any other president's done.
No,
like,
Definitely.
So to be able to, you know, at 2 a.m. when you're drunk, high, whatever you're doing in the White House there, to be able to go on Twitter and be like, this is what's going on with the country, even though it's really not, or whatever's in your head at the time. To have that ability, you know, Twitter's really helped out. And
He's really leveraged that platform and kind of controlled a good amount of the American population.
Man, like,
And
he's
they
doing
believe anything he says.
Yeah.
You see it, man.
He's doing things that your regular Twitter guru or your guru on YouTube could never do. This guy's 77 or 75 years old, and he's doing Twitter better than CEOs that are 25, 26, you know, that have had this their whole lives. Like, that's something to be said about the guy, you know. Like,
and they had to change the rules for him, too.
Yeah, well,
now when you're that good, they got to switch.
The algorithm
You
up.
got to switch the algorithms up. Like,
Yeah.
yo, this guy's killing the game right now.
all the traffic's going here.
Yeah.
So, no, like, we were talking about it earlier, too. Like, you never really see somebody be like, I'm going to be a president in the next couple of years. Put their mind to it and be like, out of nowhere come out and win the presidential election. Like, maybe he was like, I'm going to be the president just so I can get a couple more Trump towers built up and all that other stuff, but never really wanted to be the president. I think you were talking about that initially. Maybe we can go into that as well.
Yeah.
But he won, and it doesn't seem like he really wanted it the 4 years. Like, everybody around his team got caught up in something. Like, he was just doing some shady shit. And maybe it wasn't him doing it, but you don't just have 10, 15 people getting locked up, like, just because you don't know what's going on.
So let's get into that, because I like that point you brought up, that he might have not ran to have the intention to better the country, just to personally benefit from it. What do you think his motives were going into this? Think that was it?
I don't know. At the end of the day, you're never in the person's mind, right? Like, you never know what's going on through their head. But
from what you see, though,
if he is a businessman and if he does have all these debts in place, I think being the president of a country can probably, one, alleviate a lot of those debts. Maybe you get a lot of payouts and stuff like that, or whatever it is. And two, it's good for the brand, you know?
the Donald Trump brand.
This guy made a lot of money just licensing off the last name. Like, a lot of Trump towers, doesn't own the real estate. He gets paid for the licensing of it, or the stakes, or just anything that he's put his name on. He gets licensing for that. So increasing the value of the brand or increasing the value of the name is only going to be good for the bottom line, you know? So him running for presidency really helps the bottom line there, you know? Maybe not the podcast, the bottom line, but his bottom line at the end of the day. And like, I think he got it. He's really good at name calling and picking those names that stick in people's heads, just like we were talking about with the Hillary. But I think he messed up on the Sleepy Joe part. Like, if that's all you could do, I see why you've lost by so many votes. But so he knows what he's doing. Well, he did know what he's doing. I think at this point he missed out. Doesn't like to lose, but he missed out on the biggest thing. Like, people are scared of COVID. You can't just say it's not a thing. Can't just downplay it. Can't just be like, oh, I got COVID for 2 days. When there's some people that are actually dying. Like,
you tried to pull that one out the bag.
You tried to pull it out the bag.
Yeah.
So came back dancing on the stage.
Yeah. Jerking off imaginary ghosts.
That was iconic, man.
Yeah.
Holy.
Oh man, they made a bunch of memes out of that too.
So, and those TikTok dancers, like, they made that into a big thing too. So, I don't know. I think he knew his demographic, but I think he stuck to his demographic too much. You know, didn't read the room. Yeah. Read the room well.
It's a big term that's coming.
But I feel like that's what he did well the first time he got elected. Like, he got that core group supporting him on build the wall, make America great again. Like his immigrant policies for immigrants and stuff like that. Like, he really built his whole niche off those few things, and that got so much support, and it was so different from what other presidents were saying before then, that people were like, all right, I like this guy, or let's give this guy a chance and see what he actually.
No, I remember the rhetoric around 2016 was like, you're picking between two evils, you know? Are you going to be picking between Hillary, who's been a career politician, or are you going to be picking between Donald Trump? It's like, which poison are you going to pick?
Businessman.
Yeah. So it's like, I think they picked him and were like, the base that he had, I think, stuck with them the whole time. But I think those people were like, you know what, I hate Hillary. Like, I'm not going to vote for her no matter what. I think those people were lost in the tide, right? Yeah. And I think that's what changed the election the first time. Enough Democrats or people being like, I don't trust Hillary at all. She does a bunch of shady stuff. She's got all these Saudi Arabia deals, all that other stuff. Even though Henry Kissinger actually has all the Saudi Arabia deals. But I think the people that were not on Hillary's side, that went to Trump's side, have left. And, you know.
I got a question. Because you mentioned Jared Kushner's name, and I'm like, and I've always seen his name pop up in, like, on news articles and stuff like that. How much power what was his role?
So, yeah.
Oh, word? And he was Ivanka's
husband.
Right?
All right. But I didn't know too much about the Kissinger family either, but I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. So an economic hitman is somebody that goes, it's an economist, right? Somebody that goes into another country and pretty much just puts them in debt trap diplomacy. So have you guys ever heard of that?
No.
Like,
No.
just puts them into huge amounts of debt to like the World Bank and like these huge banks and stuff
Yeah.
like that, right?
How does that go about?
So let's take Panama, for example. It's a story that they talk about a lot. These big projects like hydro dams, like, are big expensive projects, right? You really can't charge your taxpayers that much money because there's just not enough, right?
Yeah.
So you have to go out and get these big loans from the World Bank or these other big banks in the world, right? It's usually the World Bank, and their job is to make sure that you're taking debt from the country, or like you're pretty much going in there to enslave a country into debt. Like you're trying to talk to the prime minister or the president of the country and either give them the resources for the next 100 years, or you're making shady deals, right? Like, so these hitmen are sent in there to be like, make false reports, like boost the numbers up, because nobody could really tell how something's going to affect the next 30 years. You're just making decisions off what are some constant variables right now. Like, okay, so let's say we install a new hydro dam into Peru. That's going to bring in 100,000 new jobs. Like, these people have to service the jobs. It's going to bring in more energy, blah, blah, blah. So this is what the value of this loan is worth to your people, right? And the kind of goal is to get a lot of these. The deals are meant to have like the presidents and a select group of people like actually make money, but to enslave the rest of the people for a long amount. For servicing the debt, right? Pretty much. And we were talking about Kissinger and stuff like that. He was a big part in the Saudi Arabia oil deal. So there was an embargo at one point. Saudi Arabia said, we're not going to give oil to the rest of the world. Henry Kissinger pretty much went in there, did like a mafia style deal. Like, all right, if you're not going to sign this over, you're going to be like, just like we did with the Shah of Iran, like we're going to just take over the government. Like, we're going to have the CIA and all the jackals and stuff like this come in, take over the country, like just like they did in Afghanistan and Iran. Like, it's a big book to summarize in 5 minutes, but it's a very interesting book of like how the world actually works. And
that sounds crazy.
That does.
Yeah,
That sounds like some real underworld shit.
yeah. So like you'll have like the Bush family, like they were huge into oil, like that's why they went into Iraq and stuff like that. And like,
Interesting.
the people that are at the top of the government, they have like a lot of connections to either the war machine or like the oil machine or whatever, sugar. Like every president's got their certain people in power, right? So it's those kind of guys that really run the government. Like, Donald Trump might be in there, but he's more of a face. He's there to bring in people like Henry Kissinger and like the guy that used to be in charge of the CIA. He goes into I remembered his
name, Joe? Who used to be in charge of the CIA?
Yeah. So who? No, not Comey.
Was this recently?
No, like whatever. It doesn't matter what his name is, but regardless, it's those kind of guys that are actually in charge of the government. Like, so Donald Trump being the president, he's there to bring in those kind of guys like Henry Kissinger that can make those deals come in and go through, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot to run a big country. One person can't do it. Like, so, and that's what people don't really understand. Like, you've got a face, but it's like any other business. The CEO is just there to talk to the media or to do bigger deals. He's not there to run the day-to-day. That's what everybody else in the company is for.
Yeah.
So you're really just changing up the CEO at this point of the U.S. Everybody else is kind of going to keep their jobs, though.
Changing the face.
Yeah.
How much value is there in changing the face, though? Because obviously there's a lot of people very happy that Biden is the president-elect. A lot of countries were sending their congrats or this, that. Prime Minister Trudeau was happy to see Biden back in.
Not surprised.
back in business. Do you think this is gonna help, like, the U.S. mending their ties around the world, with countries, with certain groups of people?
It definitely does to an extent. Like with Canada, Trudeau and Biden kind of have a relationship already standing, but then you look at the other side where Trump did make connections with Russia and North Korea that have kind of put a stop towards nuclear warfare that could ensue there. So you lose out in that area maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But you have Trump kind of affecting us and how we're going to benefit from that as a country.
Yep.
I know you were talking about it last time.
Yeah, like
So touch on that.
so, just like how you were saying, I think Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump never really got along together.
No.
I think just whether it's Donald Trump's wife finds Justin Trudeau really attractive or whatever it is, like whatever the issue
some
is.
entanglements.
Yeah, it has some entanglements going on, like I don't know what the issue is, but maybe it's politics, maybe it's whatever, maybe Justin Trudeau didn't want to play along, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clear that Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau don't get along. So I think it'd be a little bit better for Canada if Biden is a president of the States, just relieving a lot of those aluminum tariffs that have been put on the States. But the only negative too with Biden is his Green New Deal. He's probably going to get rid of the pipeline like project that we were working on, which is pretty much Alberta's kind of last hope.
It's a different thing.
Oh, whatever. Regardless, like he's into the green environment, right? And that's kind of been what's holding up like the pipeline deal in Alberta. And right now with Joe Biden getting elected, it might be good for automakers like GM and Ford and stuff. Okay. But it's probably not going to be great for the Alberta oil mines, just because right now with the oil being at such a low price, they've lost another person to kind of export the oil to, right? And we're not going to go too deep into Canada's oil market, but essentially we take a crude oil out of the ground and we have to send it to refineries like either in Houston or in different parts of the States that specialize in that because we don't have them here. So oil pretty much comes out of Canada, goes down to Houston, comes back into Canada.
Through those pipes?
Yeah, through those pipes. And if that's not going to happen, we need to start building some refineries here, which I'm very surprised that we don't have. But it's like, how does it affect the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
And them trying to get the pipeline built to Houston is a lot better for their bottom line than building a new refinery here. But regardless, that's not the point. The question was Biden becoming president, what's better for Canada? So I think it's one of our sectors are going to do well. We're going to have probably a little bit better tourism, especially if Biden's COVID task force figures it out and allows more tourism to happen in the country. I think for automakers, it's going to be good. For renewable energy suppliers, it's going to be good. But I think for our oil and stuff like that, that's in Alberta, I don't think it's going to be the best. So
Interesting.
there's pros and cons to everything, right?
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
I think Donald Trump getting out of office is a better look for America because of his morals. That's just, again, going back to the racism left with Trump. Like, we know he's a blatant racist, and some of the things he supports is not what the general public in America really wants to push. So it's a good look for, I guess, a moral standpoint. But again, not every politician is perfect. Joe Biden has his faults too. Kamala Harris.
But again, it still shocks me that 70 million people still voted for him. That's a lot of public.
Yeah, why though?
Why does that shock you, or why do you think they voted for him?
I think
A little bit of both, to be honest.
I'm not shocked, but I guess I am.
Man, that's
Because
almost
70
50.
million is
That's
a lot.
almost like you're 4 million difference, right?
Yeah.
And even with all this, we'll talk about it a little later, but like all this fraud stuff going on, like that's a lot of votes, but like not as big of a difference as you would have thought, right? Like if almost 150 million people voted, you have a 4 million difference between the two candidates. The country is almost at 50%.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's not like it's 75% Joe Biden, 25% Donald Trump. It's almost 50-50. Like there's enough people that like him and think, or like his policies a little bit more. Maybe they don't want to be taxed as much. Like, and that's what we were talking about on the last episode too. If you're thinking on a individual level, maybe Trump being in office is probably better, just because you're not going to get taxed as much. There's not going to be as much regulation. You could start a new business. You could do this, that, and the other thing, right? And there's not going to be as much like political speak. Like you can say what you want, right? Whereas now with Joe Biden, taxes are going to be higher. Censorship's going to probably be a little bit higher. We're seeing it from Twitter. We're seeing all these media companies are now, whether you want to go as far as saying taking away your right to free speech is another story, but you know, there's positives and negatives with somebody being in office. You know? So.
Tax is only higher for 1% of Americans.
It's only going to be high for 1% of Americans?
Only those who make $400,000 a year, which is 1%.
Not really. Like the tax rates go up for most people. Like
They do, but under Biden's tax plan, only increases taxes for people who make over $400,000 a year.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the rate goes like it's the capital gains rate. It's not. I don't. From my understanding, it's not affected on the income you make. The capital gains as a whole is taken. It just increased across the board. Like there are little things that are increased across the board, but don't affect the average person. So they just say it's in the top 1%. But these are changes made because you can't just. You can affect taxes because there's bracket systems, right? So if you're over the 400,000, you could make those taxes really expensive, but usually you don't get like it goes from 21, 22, 23, 24 to 50%. It's usually like 21%, 30%, 35%, 40%, 50%, right? It's like a gradual increase. So you're going to have like an increase on the lower people as well. It's not going to be as huge of an increase for people that don't make 400,000, but overall, there's still going to be an increase in taxes as well too, for the average folk. Yeah. Not as huge. Like it'll probably be $50, $100 a year.
He's saying none, and that.
He's a 40-year politician though. He tells you how he knows how to tell the truth. Well, the truth.
that was based on
Yeah.
The truth.
I think if he went back on that, I think he would likely not be reelected.
Well,
Yeah.
he might not be alive in 4 years.
Yeah,
If Trump built the wall,
He might not be alive. He might not be alive in 4 years, so it really doesn't matter.
If Trump was successful in building that wall, do you think he'd be reelected?
No.
I think there'd be civil war.
No. He built what? An extra 3-5 miles or whatever?
There's a video of, I think 2 Mexican women scaling it in like less than 45 seconds.
Yeah.
They jumped that shit.
Bro, like you have
They're
people have
grade school.
drones. Like what the fuck? Like his whole thing was, we're gonna stop all these drug criminals bringing stuff in. Bro, they have tunnels and drones. Like you think you're gonna have to dig these walls real deep, like to get through the tunnels. And
It's got to be a dome at this point.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You know
remember
what I'm
that old
saying?
Simpsons movie? Like old,
yeah.
when they build the whole dome around to stop the aliens or whatever it is from coming in. Yeah, pretty much got to build one of those. And
Chapo's still gonna find a way.
He's gonna find a way through.
he's trying to chop.
Oh man.
That's hilarious.
Oh man. What
But
do we at?
we're talking about the media side of it. Like, I just want to touch on this. How did you guys deal with like that constant election talk on your phone, Instagram? Like, I know we were enjoying the memes, but
Yeah.
did you guys have to take a break, or you guys felt overwhelmed, or you guys just enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
Like, part of me, yeah.
It was something different from what I see through my daily escapades of social media. And I looked at him like, but yeah, compared to the daily life of social media, you see a lot of negative, and yeah, there was some, but especially when Joe Biden was elected, you saw all the memes, all the sighs of relief from people all over the country and the world. To be honest, it was good to see, you know. So, and on top of just the information coming out, and it was like a drama
Like a
show.
soap opera,
It was a soap opera basically.
For the last year at least, man. Like it's been dramatic for the last year. Like
You love to see it sometimes.
sometimes you get tired of seeing it though.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
get tired
That's
of it,
true.
man.
So you do gotta shut it down sometimes.
But we're gonna get 2 more months of this at least.
Yeah.
At least, man.
Be
This guy's
suing
not
mans.
leaving. This guy's not gonna leave the office with kicking and screaming.
Not leaving
Countdown
quietly.
quick.
No, he's gonna start
He's not
getting.
leaving
He's
the-
gonna start getting people. Like he's gonna have to do a coup at this point. Like he's gonna have to start getting. Yeah, he's gonna have to start getting the army on his side and like.
Oh man.
You know what? If somebody comes and tries to touch me, you better hold them back. You know.
Yeah, he's
Making
talking to
deals
all
like that.
those Trump people. Like, yo, I know you guys can come up here at the
Pull
White
up.
House, pull up.
Pull up, man.
Pull up with your strap.
MAGA.
Gonna make a Kendrick Lamar album cover out
You
here.
shouldn't be laughing about this, because if this happens, it's like the bottom line told you.
We told you first.
Yeah.
The bottom line is here.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be like this till January 20th, man, or whenever the new term starts.
I'm really interested to see what he does afterwards. Like, once he's actually out, like, there might be like this post-president thing for maybe like a year. But like, what does he transition to after that? Because he can't be talking about the voter fraud in 2020 forever, right? Like, he's got to move on at some point.
If he does move on, I think I was saying last episode or 2 episodes ago. I think he's just going to expand the business.
Yeah.
There's going to be more Trump Towers. There's going to be more this, more that. But there's other points, too. Like, he put in 3 judges in 4 years. Like, those people are going to be there for the next 30, 35 years. Like, those are lifetime positions.
Really?
It's going to be like a Trump country for a long time.
Wow.
Like, even if Joe Biden wins and they have the Senate, it's going to be a Republican Senate. You're not going to tell them to approve laws. Like,
easily.
Try to approve, like, a trans law. It's not going to happen. Try to approve a gay marriage law across the states. It's not going to happen. Like, the Senate, there's different parts of the government. Like, the president can only do so much.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So, like, for the next 30 years, it's going to be like a Trump Supreme Court. Like, these people that he put in are in their mid-40s, early 50s. Like, they're going to be there for a long time. And they're the ones that actually make decisions. Like, the Supreme Court's the one that makes the big decisions. So I think the people that are there, they're going to be there for a while. And it's going to be, the Senate's going to be Republican. So for the next 4 years, Joe Biden's going to have to make some deals with the other side and do what he needs to do to get some kind of laws that he wants put through. But not everything that he's going to want put through is going to get put through. So there's more levels to government. It'd be crazy for everybody to know all this stuff. Like, it's just too much time on your hands. Like, you can't know all this stuff, plus have kids, plus make dinner, plus take your kids to school. Like, you can't have a regular life and know all this shit, too. That's a great way to put it. Like, so they make you pay attention to what they want you to pay attention to. At the end of the day, they're going to get the goals they want accomplished done. And if they have a leader they own more seats in the Senate, then he can't really tell them what to do. Like, it's going to still be a Republican country for a long time.
For real.
So,
at the end of the day, like, I always listen. Maul on the Joe Budden podcast is always talking about, doesn't matter who the president is. At the end of the day, if you want to better your life, better your area, your circumstances, your community, it's down to you and not who you like for president, who you like for mayor, because there's so many levels to it. There's so many things that have to be put in place for immediate changes to happen where you're living at, that you won't be able to, like, it's not worth waiting for.
Right.
So I like the way you say it's like a lot of people just don't have time to think about this politics and voting every single time it comes around, because it's not just voting for the president, it's voting for literally everything else, down to your city councilors, mayors, and all of that. That have way more impact on your day-to-day life than President Trump.
Like we were talking about, or I was saying it originally, he's like the CEO of your company. A CEO just picks the direction you're kind of going towards, right? And if the other parts of your business, like your payroll departments, like, we can't afford this, that's like, think of that as one part of another government that controls what we do. Yeah. Like, you have to have all parts of that kind of in the same direction. And if your leader wants to go this way, but everybody else wants to go the other way, it's going to be very difficult, no matter how charismatic or how good of a leader this guy is. Yeah. And with Joe being the age that he is, it's going to be hard for him to inspire some confidence in his senators and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, especially if they don't like him, or they've known him for 40 years, because it's not like he's brand new in the Senate. Like, people know him. He's got a reputation. There's bridges he's burned. There's bridges he's built. Like, it comes with a lot, right? So.
Word. That's why his VP pick is very important because of his age.
Yeah. So. And that's where I think a lot of the conspiracies are. Like, the reason Joe got elected to be the president and stuff like that, just so Kamala Harris could be the president in a while, or whatever is going to happen, you know? Like, I think that's where I'm seeing a lot of.
Interesting.
It's great for her getting into office, so, cause
first African American, first
female,
half Indian as well too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I thought she was native, but apparently she's Asian Indian. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Big for colored people in America, man.
Colored people. Yeah.
More power to Kamala Harris.
To every person, man.
Yeah. More life.
To every person. To every person.
More life to America.
Yeah, more life to America, man. It's what makes North America great again.
Oh shit. So what else have we been up to since?
Man, other than these elections.
Since election, man.
Netflix and elections, man.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Oh man. How about you, Ian?
It's honestly just been election. Yeah. I've been enjoying it.
You just been watching elections?
Election. physically trying to get right.
Yep.
Working out again a little more.
How's the
and
biking
that's
been
what-
going?
Good, man. And
Yeah?
me and him have been seeing a personal trainer. That's been cool.
Yeah.
Shouts out Daryl.
Daryl? Where's Daryl at? Give him a plug.
True Fitness, just down the street on Olet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's in Windsor.
Yes,
Yeah.
Windsor, Ontario. We are Canadian.
Border City, though.
Yeah, Border City.
Detroit, we see you.
Shouts
Every
out
night.
Toronto, Toronto, we see you too, though. Who do you think
Yeah.
we get more influenced by, though? Like
I think Detroit.
Detroit versus Toronto?
I don't know.
A lot of
'Cause
people
we're-
talk like
I think it's
Toronto
cool.
folk, though.
Yeah.
Chee!
Like we're not-
No, but those are the. I don't know. Is
Those
that
are the
Toronto?
youngins, man. They
Yeah.
come here.
Yeah, those just
I
retarded.
think we get a good amount of both.
Yeah.
I think a lot of I think with this whole like where we're at right now with Toronto being such like a high place right now, a lot more than it was when we were young.
Yeah.
I think a lot of younger kids associate with Toronto more than Detroit. I
I
think a
don't
lot of older folk associate.
I
with
think
Detroit
yeah,
more.
I think a lot of older folk definitely Detroit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They've spent a lot of time. Yeah.
Our age is like a middle.
Yeah, we are a middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know about you guys, but I don't spend Friday nights, Saturday nights in Detroit, but I'm sure a lot of people that are 40, 50 now probably went every single weekend to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they went down to a comedy club, they went down to Motown, like
The
Yep.
other way around, Detroit, people used to come here because of drinking.
Yeah.
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 That's a
people
big
used to come
factor.
here and get fucked up, yeah.
Chee.
Windsor used to be called Pill City or whatever.
Oh man, that's nasty.
Yeah, it used to be
That's
fucked down
nasty.
here, bro.
Oh man.
Like all the old heads you talk to, it's just like, man, you see downtown Windsor now. Back 30 years ago, it was not like that. People
Word.
used to come here from Detroit and just get messed up. Like the messed up of the messed up from Detroit used to come out here.
I was talking to one of the business owners down here. He owns he owns Lou Miles. Which they make like they make suits and stuff like that, like
Okay.
Italian made suits and whatnot. And he was like, man, 30 years ago. And we get this from a lot of older people that come in downtown. They're like, man, 20 years ago, downtown was bumping all the time, man. Restaurants all over the streets, people walking about, enjoying their time down here, actually spending time down here in downtown Windsor.
Yep.
And nowadays, it's like, if you're not coming here for like one or two things, you're not spending any time down here.
Yeah.
If you're not going to the river or going to one specific store or restaurant
Or a club, yeah.
or a club, you're not spending any time down here.
That's the only reason people really cross the border. Just the age restriction. They
Yeah.
come here party.
Yeah.
That's literally it. That's all I've really seen Detroit folk here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just like they come here, you see them downtown. It's like, where's a weed store at? Like we heard it's legal here. Sorry,
there,
man.
bro.
It's,
Right
yeah,
down the
right,
street.
yeah.
It's just down the street.
Yeah.
There's one up there too. If you want
There's
some
one on the
variety.
other side too if you want. You can also order online too. They'll come to your door.
Yep.
Windsor's biggest business, bro. Wine and weed.
Oh yeah.
It's two W's.
Triple W. Windsor Wine Weed.
Windsor wine, weed, water. That's all. you need.
www.
Water. Windsor water. I'm good on that.
That's legit. They used to, back in the day, they used to consider bottling the Detroit River water. 'Cause Actually, some of the
It was
cleanest-
fresh.
Was the Nestle doing that? Because they really fucked up Flint too.
That's a whole other conversation.
We can get deep into that one, right?
What were you watching?
Yeah. So
Yeah. let
yeah,
me know
other than
what
the
you've been
elections, I just binged through that whole Queen's Gambit show.
What's that about?
It's a really cool show. Actually, it's about like a young orphan girl who starts off not knowing anything about chess, really picks it up, and then by the end of it becomes like a chess prodigy. I'm sure you figure that out in the first like 2-3 minutes of the episode. It's like one of those
Yeah.
flashback shows. Like it starts off like kind of at the end and then kind of goes through it, and it was refreshing. It was like a 7-episode, no filter, no bullshit. Like here's the story we want to tell kind of show. You know, like just going in straight off from the bat. It's a nice progression, good detail, good dialogue, nothing overly complicated, like easy to follow along, and it's just more. I'm thinking this is how movies are going to be starting to get made soon. Instead of doing, it's so hard to make a 2-3 hour movie now. Like there's so much stuff you got to fill in. People are so used to shows that are in an hour where you have the time to develop characters and stuff like that. Like I've watched an hour 45-minute movie and I'm like, I forgot how small of a story it tries to tell. It's like a night event, or it's not like a full story that's told in a movie. And when you were younger, it's like you would think, oh, 2-3 hours, like that movie just took forever, blah blah blah. But now it's just so easy to bang out 2-3 episodes of a show, where they've got that ability to do 2 hours of developing this one character, as opposed to in a movie where you've got 15 minutes to maybe develop a character, right?
Yeah.
So now I think it's just going to be show, instead of making a 2-3 hour movie, you're going to make a 7 episode kind of show. Like, I think that's kind of where movies are going to go to. It's just, it makes more sense. Like, people are more open to it. Like, investing 3 hours at once is sometimes harder for people to invest 7 hours just in small spurts. Like, I don't know. Like, I just
think
see
a lot of people love doing that 7 hours, just bang, finishing the whole show.
Like, I've done it. I spent a whole day, and like, not with this show, but with other shows in the past. Like, you sit there, you watch a whole 10 episode season in one day. Like, it's 10 hours, but it doesn't feel like 10 hours. You know, it's a lot of ups and downs and motions and stuff like that. But it definitely keeps you glued, and not like a movie though.
Yeah,
no.
It's much different.
I can't sit through movies. I hate watching movies because
it moves too fast.
No, it's just 2 hours. It's too long to just sit there and just.
Yeah, but you're willing to sit there for 10 hours and watch a whole season at once.
I can digest something like that because I'll watch a whole season of Power and be done in less than a day. Yeah. But when it comes to sitting down and watching a movie, I gotta get up, get a snack, take a little break because I don't know. It's just different. It's so much more digestible to watch like an hour episode.
Take a 5-minute break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As opposed to like,
and you pick up where you left off, like, and it's a new episode too. It's not like, oh, I gotta remember what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I go to bed halfway through the movie,
you gotta rewatch.
That's what I be doing.
No, you gotta rewatch the whole movie.
That's what I be doing though.
I heard after the second glass.
At least for.
After the first glass, you're out. You gotta get the almonds in.
I do. Oh fuck.
Yeah. I think that's just the day and age that we're in now. Yeah. Like, people just
it's weird
binge watching stuff.
It's weird. You love binge watching, but you don't like to sit for 2 hours and do a movie. Like, and I totally get it. Because I'm like that as well, too. It's like, sometimes even watching that 3-hour movie with the one that came out with the old guys. The Irishman, right?
Oh, I couldn't finish that.
Yeah, like, that was one of the... I've heard it was... Like, I watched it. It was good. But I watched it in 3 different sections. Like... I never do that. Yeah. For me, I'm good with sitting down for 4 hours and watching a movie. But,
for sure.
But this movie, I couldn't do it. Like, I've watched all 3 Godfathers in a day. Like, it's not that I can't sit there and watch 3-hour movies. It's just like, for this one, like, there's something about it where I'm like, this is a good part to pause, and I'll catch back on this tomorrow. Like, but usually I can't do that in a movie, you know. Like, it's usually I have to watch it all.
You gotta bang it all the way, or you're going to lose a lot of information.
Yeah. And I hate catching up into a movie where I'm like, I've watched this before, but you've only watched like 30, 40 minutes of it, and you think you've watched the whole thing, and you're like, you don't even give it a chance anymore.
I don't really want to go back. Cause
Exactly. So
I don't know. I got a love-hate relationship with movies.
Interesting.
That's why I love Netflix.
Likes to chill.
Netflix, man.
Likes to chill. So I think we're all empty on the glasses.
Break time.
We need to take a quick refill break.
Welcome back. And this episode of The Bottom Line is brought to you by our sponsors at Low & Co, where you can get premium vintage, the latest in streetwear and sneakers for a great price. Follow them on Instagram at lowandco_ and check out their website, lowandco.ca, and check the storefront at 365 Palliser Street. Thank you very much, Low & Co, for providing these bottles. Cheers, boys.
Cheers. What are we
sipping on?
This one we had a what do we have at the beginning? A Koyam organic wine. This one you brought in, right, Hector?
Yeah.
Organic thing, eh?
And what was
on my healthy tip. I'm trying to lose that gut.
Fair enough, G.
This is probably one of those things where they just write organic on it
Yes,
to get people like you.
just a fool.
Cost an extra $3
Yeah.
just because they put organic on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, sick.
I really like
So
the
that
second
one's from
bottle
Chile.
that we got.
That one's from
one is
Chile,
Chile.
and then I got the Merlot. the Wakefield Estate.
This one's really good.
Yeah, this
Super
one is
sweet.
super sweet. It's got a bunch of awards, as you can see from the sticker.
Yo,
It really did well. That's what caught my
that's
eye.
perfect branding and advertising.
Word.
Actually, what caught my eye was on the back. It's got a temperature
Really?
rating. So this current temperature indicator, like it changes. It's like one of those mood rings. Remember?
Yeah.
So like
Cool.
it'll show like if it's too cold, it gives you like what it looks like here. It gives you like a primal temperature for it, and yeah, when it's too warm and stuff like that. So I think we might be drinking a little. Maybe the bottle's a little too warm now, but when we had it, it was that optimal temperature. So.
Nice. Probably
This
because we
one's really
touched
good.
it with our hands for a bit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Serving and everything.
And the
That's a
liquid's
really
out
nice
too.
bottle.
So
Yeah.
and I don't know. This had. I know here at the LCBO they give you ratings and stuff.
Mhm.
That one on your bottle said
At
like 96. And then can't always go off those. You never know if those are a sticker put on there or whatever. But you know, I find that if you go get some decent bottles and they have a good rating, you can
Yeah.
usually find something nice. That's usually how
Always
Source
ask
them.
the old heads at the LCBO. They know what they're talking about.
they're professional
Oh yeah.
alcoholics. Yeah.
They go at it. They go at it, and they always give me the best stuff. So
Yep.
let them know, man.
Yeah. The last bottle we had, the Cathedral Cellar. That one was recommended to me by a local enthusiast at the LCBO. Let's call them enthusiasts.
Enthusiasts,
Yeah.
That's like
philanthropists.
Yeah, they don't have enough money to be philanthropists. They're still working a 9 to 5.
Word.
But just going off what we were talking about at the end there,
Mhm.
there's another candidate other than Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Who was it?
I think we talked about him before, Big Kanye, you know?
Ah.
So what did he end up getting? Joe was saying, what, 60,000 votes? Well,
Not bad.
he,
Less than these nuts, right?
in Harambe?
2016?
In Harambe?
Is it less than
The
Harambe?
most he did for his presidential, like the most campaigning he did was get on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, but even if you... I'm very surprised he only got 60,000 votes, man. Like, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of people that saw him talk on that Joe Rogan podcast, so... And it's not like people don't know who Kanye is. Like, if you've never heard one of his albums, I feel bad for you. Like,
College Dropout is a
yeah,
classic.
if you've never heard any college saga
Never
there...
worn any of his clothes.
Yeah.
Talking to the young folk.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you had
Come right,
Yeezys
everyone.
or stuff like that. Very comfy shoe. Like,
Yeah.
Very-
Kanye definitely didn't need Joe Rogan to tell people who Kanye was. Like, people knew who Kanye was.
Oh yeah.
So,
He's been good at that himself.
yeah. So, I'm very surprised he only got 60,000 votes. 59,999 if you exclude himself. But, you know,
You think the Kardashians voted for him?
probably
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So Kim's just tricking, eh? Blue hearts.
Yep.
not. Stricken for the team.
That's crazy. He,
Team Blue.
he definitely needs to
Reevaluate himself.
just
Maybe he did it as a tax write-off. Maybe he learned the game.
True.
Like, you see Bloomberg, like, he ran too, but this guy spent like hundreds of millions of dollars. There's definitely a reason he did that.
Man, these
Tax
guys
man.
with the tax write-offs are too good.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, bro.
Fuck.
And you don't just spend all this money just to make $500,000 to be a president. You're not spending millions and millions of dollars to get a $500,000 a year job.
Yeah, man.
Like,
The only thing I can quickly find regarding these nuts is that in North Carolina, they got 9% of the vote.
so yeah, Joe was just telling us T's Nuts got 9% of the vote in North Carolina.
In 2016. Amazing.
That's probably, is that as well as Joe Biden's doing right now in North Carolina? No. I think he won North Carolina, right?
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I think
They're
Trump won.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Where?
Trump is in the lead.
Oh, it's still
They're actually
undecided,
one of the
right?
states that's not decided.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
okay.
North Carolina, it's pretty close. You got 50.1%.
'Cause the Hornets are
for Trump and
trash.
48.7 for Biden.
Because the Hornets are trash. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it definitely has to factor in. They're just super unhappy over there.
Man, your sports team really makes your city too. Like, if your sports team's whack, your whole morale goes out the window.
100%.
Like, look at Detroit right now. Like, these guys have been
They've been struggling.
they've been struggling.
Every team too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when we were growing up, they were having a great
They
time.
were nice. Pistons were nice.
Red Wings were nice.
Not the Lions,
Tigers
though.
were nice.
Tigers were nice too. Like
Lions haven't been nice for a while.
Shouts out
They
to
don't
the
row or they meow. Like, they,
yeah,
they're like the Detroit Cats at this point.
definitely need to switch up the mascot.
Yeah.
You switch up to everything.
I like the blue though. The blue works.
That does
It's
work.
nice.
It is, yeah, they do have nice colors.
Yeah.
Definitely got to switch up the team dynamics there.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not working out.
It hasn't been working out. Do you think it's a player issue or a
even
team
when
issue?
they've had superstars? That's what we were talking about earlier today. Is
Yeah.
like they've had the best wide receiver in the last
Decade.
decade.
Let's say so.
They've had Barry Sanders, who was one of the best running backs in his time. And then a bunch of other very good players, Matt Stafford, Dominican Sue, and stuff like that. But even had them all on the same team at once, except Barry Sanders. He was before them. But never were able to pull off anything substantial, never able to put it all together. You know, it's just a testament of building a proper team, having the right pieces at the right time. Like, it's tough.
Yeah. So speak about that more, because that goes into our next topic about business and team dynamics. I know we have gone through our own struggles here at Low End. What do you think is some important qualities that a team needs to kind of exhibit for it to run properly business-wise?
Business-wise.
Well, let's more talk about. We'll go into that as well too, but we're talking about the Lions. So football is a business just like anything else.
True.
Like, what would the same dynamics are going to have to apply to a sports team as they would any other business? So let's consider the Lions as a business, which they are. What would you do to fix that up?
Dang.
Right now?
In GM mode now, or owner mode.
Owner mode, kind of.
Yeah. To fix the Lions. It's okay. Let's take a very good example in the New England Patriots.
Okay.
They've been one of the most successful teams in the last 15, 20 years, you could say.
Yep.
And I think one of the biggest things with that is because the hierarchy there was very similar in the types of people that they had. By that I mean Robert Kraft being the owner. I think they had a good owner in that position. And then under him, they have a coach like Bill Belichick, one of the best coaches in the league. And then they also had Tom Brady, the face of that team for many, many years, being the leader and the best player on that team.
Right.
So I think they had it right at 3 different levels where the ownership was correct. Robert Kraft is a good owner, you could say. Put his organization in a position to win. Bill Belichick, one of the best coaches in the league, probably worked well with Robert Kraft and obviously worked well with Tom Brady at the bottom, where he's kind of like the player that represents the whole team.
Yeah.
And then from there, they were able to get good pieces around Tom Brady on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball.
So do you find that it's consistency that they've been best at, or figuring out that structure?
A consistent structure.
Okay.
And that consistent structure is what I was talking about, those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in sports, I feel like teams switch, like, ownership is pretty set. Like, ownership is hard to change. It's going to be there for a long time.
Right.
But everything else changes pretty frequently. And I think the best teams have the most consistency in that
those main roles.
roles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if we look at sports, Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in the league in the NBA. And he's been with the Spurs for a very long time. I'm sure there's a good relationship with him and the owners, and him with the players as well. And I'm a big Arsenal fan. And soccer is a lot more prevalent. Like Manchester United is a good example. Sir Alex Ferguson, one of the greatest coaches ever, was there coaching one of the most successful teams ever for 20 plus years.
Right.
Won countless championships, and he had players come and go, but the structure was always pretty consistent, and the core was always great. So I think when you're trying to build a great team, whether that's sports and business, you need a good core that have similar views, values, and
mindset.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah. So, and I think we're hitting it right to the point where we're going to your point that you wanted to make. So why did you want to talk about business and team dynamics as well?
Since we talked about it last podcast,
Yeah.
About roles,
Right.
and would you rather be a specialist or a jack of all trades, and that got my mind kind of racing about what we do here and just in daily life as an entrepreneur. Like, what do you want out of the process you are going through? Because we go through it every day where we have to tackle certain tasks that might entitle us being a jack of all trades or a specialist, depending on what we're doing that day. And it hits a gray area, and it's like, what do we do to kind of get to that next level? Like how certain teams need to shift cultures or mindsets or coaches or find that face of a franchise, like you were saying with Tom Brady, to reach that next level and kind of have all those kind of clicking to get to where you need to be as a team, So that is a main thing that got me thinking about this whole thing, our conversation.
Of like team dynamics and stuff.
You need the alpha dog in that dynamic. You look at MJ with the Bulls, you look at Kobe with the Lakers, Tom Brady with the Patriots. I think
LeBron with every team he's been on.
LeBron with Miami, Cavs, every team he's been on. He's been that man.
Right.
And props to him because, again, he's found success in a lot of different
cities,
cities, which is, big respect to him. But you definitely need that one undeniable leader of the group of people, of that team, and again, be that face. I think that's one key part of having a very good team.
And I definitely agree with that too. Like, it's just sports and business are so like synonymous. Like, it's just very similar. A good example that I have coming to my head is like, what are the Clippers going to do for next year, right?
Yeah.
They've got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. But if they get a guy like Chris Paul, who's already on the Clippers, that could just come back onto the team, he's exactly what they're missing. Like, they've got a good owner, like you were talking about with the Patriots. They've got Steve Ballmer. This guy's got enough money to spend. He kind of knows the game.
He's very invested in the team.
He's invested in the team. Like, just wants to see it win. The coaching probably right now is at a weird position, like getting Ty Lue to be the head coach and stuff like that, after getting rid of Doc and all that stuff. But so that's their main weakness. But then it goes to the third point too. Kawhi is more the jack of all trades at this point. He's not the master of, like, he's got a great shot, great defense. Maybe he's a master of defense, but like you saw that he got worked a little bit too in the Denver series and stuff like that. So it's really coming out that he's like a jack of all trades. He's got pretty much whatever he wants to do. He'll focus on it, but it doesn't seem like he's kind of the best. Well, it's really hard to say when you're that good. He's definitely the best at some stuff, but it seems like he's just more of an all around.
They need someone to kind of organize that team. So
right. And I think that's where Chris Paul is. Like, that's where he's going to come in if he does go to that team, right? Like, it's an expensive contract. There's a lot to give up. Like, even if it works out, but that'd probably be the one guy you need to come in there and make a shift to the franchise. Paul George, very similar to Kawhi Leonard, jack of all trades, but not really that leader that you need. Chris Paul, he knows what he's good at. You give him the ball, he's going to make something happen. He's going to bark at you. He's going to tell you what to do, what you're doing wrong. But because he knows that there's nobody better in this game at reading the floor, reading this and that. So, like, sometimes that's where you need that one guy to be like, I'm the best at this position. I'm not great at everything else. I'm good at other stuff, but, like, there's nobody better than me in this game or this business or whatever at doing this. So that's where you need that one guy to come in and kind of take that leadership role, and then kind of have 2-3 jack of all trades are also good at their stuff, and then you have a bunch of role guys as well. So I think that's very similar to how any good business is run. You've got the main guy at the top who's got the vision, whether it's the president of a country, a CEO of a business, a leader of a basketball team. This is where we're going to go. This is how I want to play, or this is how the direction we're going to go into. And then you've got a lot of guys that can make that vision a reality, right? Like, and going back to your question, I think it comes up to that point of, I think all of you guys have to become jack of all trades at everything. You guys have to be good at stuff because you're all part owners. You're not just the owner. You can't just be like, I can fill in for the roles, and then I've hired you guys because you guys are specialists at this. You know, all 4 or all 5 of you guys got to be good at everything, and then you guys got to figure out, this is where I'm going to be the master at this one category, you know. And then you're just kind of that hybrid role. You're that LeBron, you know, like, or you're that LeBron. Everybody's going to have to be kind of great at everything, and then just like progressively get to that master role at everything too, you know.
Yeah, because we've talked about it where as business owners, we should be able to kind of touch every area that is presented to us. So
small business owners.
Yeah, small business owners. Yeah. So we can know what works and what really doesn't. And again, put a different mindset onto, let's say, Ian takes on a marketing role, or Sean or Jed or myself take on finance that Ian kind of takes care of. And we switch that, and it brings a different mindset into it and a different plan of action.
And too, like, if he's the only one talking about finances, nobody understands what finances.
Exactly.
So be like, fuck you, Ian. Like, all right, we need to get this done. I don't care if the money's not there.
Yeah.
Figure it out, you know. But once everybody's had a little taste of it, it's like, oh shit, we actually can't do this. It's not gonna work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, when everybody gets a little taste of it, it's like, all right, maybe these guys aren't crazy. Like, you know, like, okay, I understand what they're talking about now. You know, so
That's a big one, for real.
And going back to that, being a jack of all trades or a specialist, personally, what would you guys want out of yourselves as young entrepreneurs and businessmen?
It comes down to, like, I'll let you speak on this because I've been talking a lot. But
I would honestly, it's a tough one because there's benefits and disadvantages for both. Like with anything, you could come up with goods and bads for both areas. Right now, my day-to-day is probably more catered towards, specialization. But when I'm thinking long-term, 5, 10 years, 20 years down the line, where I want to see myself in my career as a businessman, I understand that I'm going to need to get better at certain skills, so I can't just be focused on just one certain area.
So it sounds like you want to focus more on the specialized part, though.
Right now, I'm very specialized. I would say on that scale, I'm leaning towards the specializations, but I still know I need to work on being a better salesperson, communication skills, presentation skills, marketing is something I really want to, dive into. And so I know I know I don't want to just be categorized as a finance guy or a numbers guy, because I want to do so much more in my career that not just related to
finances.
To finance. So I'm a niche guy. I'm a specialized guy right now. I definitely see myself being maybe not a jack of all trades, but also getting better at other areas. Like LeBron expanding to the 3-point line. Exactly. I want to be something like that. You know what I mean?
You figure out the dunk package first. Dunks, passes, and then you focus on the shooting.
You know what I mean? Like
and that's how you got
back three. Yeah. I want that in my bag for sure.
Yeah.
the one move that nobody seems to get.
One dribble, and it's a nasty move because it's like you can kind of see it coming from.
And when you're watching on TV, you can see it coming every single time.
Yeah, but no one's guarding it.
Yeah. Because it's like, is he going to drive or is he going to do the shot again?
Exactly.
There's no way he's going to do the shot again.
He's looking at the ball, bro.
Yeah.
It's great. Man. How about you, Raz?
Well, right now, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm more the jack of all trades kind of guy. Like, I primarily run my business by myself, so I've got to focus on marketing, getting new clients, doing my sales force, doing, like, client relationship management, setting my appointments, doing all that stuff. So, like, for me, I've got to know how to market. I've got to know how to make sales. I've got to do all that stuff, right? Whereas for you guys, you've got a couple different guys that can specialize. Yeah. And you guys can figure out what you like. But when you run a business by yourself, it's a little bit different than having partners, right? Yeah. So that's the one benefit of having partners is you guys can specialize, but you guys also have to split profits. Whereas I do everything by myself, but I get all the profits at the end of the day. Exactly. So just like you were saying, there's no right way to do anything. If anything, I'd much prefer to have partners that specialize in everything, but it's just the way it is. It's different kinds of businesses. Some businesses you can't do that with, right? And when you're a professional, you're usually a jack of all trades. You got to know a little bit about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're a financial professional like I am, who focuses on insurance and investments and stuff like that, or you're a doctor that focuses on a certain thing. Like when you're a doctor, you still have to learn how to run a practice and be able to pay your bills and pay your employees and all that other stuff, right? So when you're a professional or a specialist, you've got to know a little bit about everything, but focus it on one kind of area, right? So it's you're always that hybrid, right? You're never going to be good at everything because everybody's going to think, oh, Hector might be good at everything, but he's best at the creative part or the marketing part. You know, like you'll always have one area where you're going to shine at, even though you're kind of good at, I can sweep the floors, I can run the cash, I can do this, I can do that, you know. Those are basic things, and then you're always going to get called on for what you can do better than everybody else. So it's kind of that opportunity cost that, you know, why would we waste $3 on this when we could pay $2 to get the same thing? And that's just things you got to figure out in your business, you know. You got to always try different things. You can't, even if you hired somebody to be a specialist, do the same thing like you talked about. Have them run the store for the day, see if they can do it, or have them run different parts of the business, like stuff like that, to see if they can do it. And if they can't, great, then they're just a specialist, and that's all they focus on. Yeah. If they're not wasting their time and they're good at managing their time for like 10 hours or 8 hours or whatever they're in for that day on doing their skill, then you're kind of good, you know. But if you're kind of person where you can focus on a task for an hour or two, then you have to go to something else and stuff like that. It's just about knowing yourself too. Like it depends on the kind of person you are.
Very important.
Yeah. So
being self-aware.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Beautiful.
No business is the same. You can't really say having more skills is never going to be a bad thing. So being a jack of all trades is always going to be good.
Yep. Exactly. And as a young person, I think that's the boat that I fall in. Because when you said the word hybrid, I immediately related
categorizes
to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
that's how you guys are describing yourselves pretty much. Yeah. Like, sure, if you guys need to, you guys can all run the store. Yeah. But you guys all know at the end of the day that you're good at one thing. Well, you're good at a lot of things, but this is what we're going to ask you to do. Yep. This is what we're going to ask you to do. This is what we're going to ask Jed to do and other stuff, right? So
yeah, we need to maximize our time here to kind of get everything we can out of this place. Yeah. You know, so it is good to be a jack of all trades for sure, just for personal growth. And again, knowing skills, knowing what you like.
Long-term growth.
Yep. That's a big one because no one wants to be, for me, I don't want to be tied down to just one role. Right. I would love to be a jack of all trades and kind of touch every
but I'm sure you like it when it's just like, we have to get this done. Hector's the guy that I know to get this done. You know, you feel some type of way when you're like a specialist at something and you're like, they're asking me this because I know this better than everybody else here.
Exactly.
So that speaks to itself in its own right, you know. So eventually you're going to be a jack of all trades and go to become a specialist and get tired of being a specialist, go back to being jack of all trades, then go back to being a specialist. Yeah.
It's like we were saying. It's like
the cycle.
It's like a wave.
A sine wave, yeah.
Exactly.
Mathematics.
Fuck the sine wave.
The beauty of mathematics.
Fuck the sine wave.
Why does that relate to like fucking everything?
Everything.
Bro?
Music.
I'm thinking about school right now. My shit. Sine, costan.
Yeah. It's like we're all a program, and we use the sine wave as our guiding light.
Yeah.
Does the sine wave relate to the NBA?
There's some up and downs and everything, man.
There's gonna be
there's up and downs and everything.
Up and downs.
So let's talk about that, guys. So it was announced recently that the NBA season is gonna continue or is gonna start on December 22nd, which is about a month and a couple days.
6 weeks.
Yeah. 6 weeks, which is kind of crazy because
I love
the draft hasn't even been finished.
Fuck the draft.
Free agency isn't done.
I don't need any of that. Give me the
I just want to see the LeBron step backs.
LeBron might not play for the first month, but it's fine.
How
management?
Yeah, for sure. How do you guys think it's gonna affect the season? There's a lot of things that it's affecting. What is the biggest thing you guys think that it's gonna affect?
I think the most important things are the bottom line for this year, like, what the amount of income that they're going to be making this year.
True.
Mm-hmm. But I think they're more worried about, just like any good business, they're thinking ahead. They're not worried about the next season. They're worried about the one after. That's the one where Giannis is going to be a free agent. That's the one that's actually going to be important, right? You saw that they agreed to a 72-game season.
Yep.
I think it more just shows, like, you know what, we need to get this year over with. We need to make sure that we've we've hit our. So they have like regional games that they have in their contract, right? Like they have to have a certain amount of regional games to be able to pay for those to meet their contract obligations and stuff like that. So 72 games allows them to complete that. And I think they're more just like, if we can get fans in, great. But the longer we wait, the longer it's going to take to get back to regular viewing time. I think they saw what it was like. It's a hard year, too. It's hard to go against the presidential elections. Your TV ratings are going to be slumped no matter what you're in. It's hard to go against a race like that, but they were at a point going against football, like in the last football, like their last final games. I don't think they want to do that again. I think they like having the finals at the end of June, maybe get it to July, but like no more than that. So, because they need that viewership dollar, they need to have people tuning in, and if there's other stuff going on, it's just not going to happen. You know, they're going to pick football over basketball any day in the States. Like football is number one sport.
America's sport.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
The elections are going to beat anything on TV. So it's kind of rough. And I think they're just like, you know what, 2021, LeBron already got his chip. I think that's kind of what their main TV goal was for that year. KD's going to come back. They're going to have enough storylines to kind of go through this year. And then I think the year after that, it's going to be Giannis. Where's Giannis going to go? Is he going to go to Dallas, like everybody's kind of saying? Or is
Dallas?
I think that's the best place for him to go.
Don't be cheating that out.
I think Luka and Giannis. I think Luka and Giannis would be fucking tough.
That'd be craziness. I haven't heard of the Dallas rumors. I heard of.
You're not as plugged in as I am, then.
Yeah, I guess. I heard Warriors, Miami, staying in Milwaukee's obviously.
Yeah.
Is he going to the Knicks?
He's gonna play with RJ.
Play with himself.
Alonzo Trier and RJ.
Get his whole brothers. It's just the Antetokounmpo family.
Yeah, just
the one was there before.
long arms on the court.
You got two shooters in the Antetokounmpo family.
Yeah.
This is the Knicks now. We run New York. We got a Jay-Z song and everything.
Oh man, Jay-Z's not even messing with it.
Yeah. Not too many people are. Spike Lee's probably out there. He's not.
He's
keeping
pulling
up
up to the Barclays.
It's probably
That'd
close.
be nasty.
Yeah.
Spike Lee was front row at the Barclays instead of the Madison Square.
Rocking a KD jersey.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. They're gonna go crazy next year though.
The Nets.
I honestly think this year is gonna be, players are gonna have to get adjusted really quickly with a shorter season and even shorter off season. We're gonna see a bunch of.
It's a shorter off season for what, 3 or 4 teams? Half the fucking league was off for like.
Prevalent teams though. Like.
But for them, it's better. They have old players. They shouldn't be sitting this long. Like they should be back at it.
Think so?
Keeping a good rhythm is probably more important for them than, like, especially guys like Rondo. Like,
Yeah.
maybe not LeBron. LeBron's probably, like I said, probably gonna take the first month.
He's
off.
already in the gym, man. Like this guy's crazy.
Watching his live that one time.
Yeah, well, that
Already
was
back in
weird
the
live.
gym.
They're probably never gonna do that again.
But I think there's gonna be an adjustment period because we always even with the regular 82-game season, it really takes a lot of the playoff teams kick in after the All-Star break.
100%.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's that Christmas game that's important for them, right? Like
That's a lot of cash.
that's a lot of cash, and I think because the reason I want to talk about the story is because it really affects the bottom line, right? Like if they wait that extra month and start in the middle of January, like they want to do, like on MLK Day, or if that's in February, I could be wrong.
I think that's January.
Yeah, so they want to start around then, but it's like what, 3 weeks you're gonna give up $50 million or $500 or $500 million or $5 billion or whatever the number was. It was like some crazy number.
Say that again. Sorry.
It was like if they start in December, like on the 22nd, versus start like an MLK when they cut like that extra month. It's like $500 million or $5 billion difference. Like it's a huge amount. I don't know the amount. Maybe we should get Joe on it, but the number at the end of the day is not that important.
Yeah.
But it's a huge amount of money that affects the bottom line. Like you don't have sponsors that can be put into place. Like that Christmas game is a huge game.
Huge.
It's good to get I would like the league to get started around then. That Christmas game is kind of like my first big game in the NBA. Like when it starts in October, like these guys don't care. Like, you know, you can tell. Like, but if you have in the first week, you've got that big Christmas game. These guys they're gonna come in ready. They're not.
How ready though? That
is the thing.
People like LeBron love to put on a show. you know, he'll be like, all right, I'm going to play Christmas, but I'm not going to play the other next 2 months or whatever while it's boring. I think you're going to get a lot of that. We're gonna have a good start to the season, and then we're going to do pretty much like we do it every year. Like the first month and a bit is slow, and then we'll be at February by then. It'll be All-Star game or whatever they choose to do, or something's going to come up. And
I think by January, there's going to be a lot of questions of have they really done the right thing? There's going to be cases for sure, just from all the traveling. They're going to have to structure the games a little different as well, because I was hearing that they might do MLB style where, let's say the Lakers go play Phoenix. They'll be in Arizona they'll play 3 days in Arizona, play Phoenix 3 times, and then they go to the next closest team, which is, I'm not too sure, but
geographically, it's probably like Denver.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, whatever. Denver, Utah.
That changes the whole scape of things, because let's say you're playing in the West Coast. You go play the Lakers, you're going to play the Clippers next. Yeah. And then
you're going to play the Lakers next. And then you're going to play
then you're going to play Golden State.
Yeah.
And then Sacramento, which is...
Well, being in the West is always like that, though. It's not like...
Exactly, yeah.
In the West, you're playing, 50 or 60% of your games in your conference? Like, you're doing that all the time. You're going up and down California all the time. It's just like, all right, we're going to be here for 3 days. We're going to get decked. Like, we lose the first game, it's not like we can see these guys again in 3 months when we can get a little bit better. Like, we're just going to get blown out for 3 days in a row. So...
And this rookie class as well. It's going to be such a crazy learning curve. Yeah. On top of the scouts not having too much to work off of besides high school play, or for LaMelo's case in Australia.
Yeah, where the Merlot came from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The ball special.
Yeah, the ball special, man. Man, I was listening to some podcasts about like one of the guys was like, I talked to LA. I'm like, how big was the ball parent, like how much was remember that whole thing, like Lonzo Ball's dad?
Yeah, LeVar,
yeah, he's
the BBB.
Like, yeah, man, this is the worst thing that ever happened. Like, he is apparently an issue. Like, so I can see a lot of teams that do not want to pick up.
Yeah, there's a lot of LeVar haters, but there's definitely a lot of people that support him and what he's done. Yeah, in terms of building that brand for his kids.
His kids, man. I think as a parent, you're doing the right thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, 3 of his kids. I mean,
2 of his kids.
2 of his kids.
You can make the case that all 3 of them could have went to college. Lonzo did, but LiAngelo did as well.
And then he got caught jacking.
They all have legit chances. They all have legit chances to play pro basketball. Yeah, which is a feat on its own. You know what I mean?
For sure. Well, when you could beat Michael Jordan 1v1, your kids should be pretty good at basketball.
You know what I'm saying? So LeVar was able to build a brand for his family and his kids, like. And in this day of social media and just influencers and all of that, like, those guys are gonna be relevant for a long time, whether they play hoops or not. Like, LeVar is just super entertaining. So
yeah, it really speaks to our generation as a whole, where you could be good at talking about something and you'll be forever engraved in the landscape of stuff, but you don't really have to be that great.
For real.
So the bottom line on that one is, do you think they should start in December 22nd, or do you think they should wait until January? Because that's kind of the question at the end of the day.
I do want to see them play on Christmas Day. I'll be at home doing nothing. And honestly, you're absolutely right. That is that first day where you kind of sit down. You don't sit down for the opener. You sit down for Christmas Day. You know, you got some good food, people around you. You want to watch a good game. So
a couple good games. Like, they play a bunch of them.
Just a whole day of good games. And
Christmas isn't the same without hoops. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm always watching that.
So I definitely want to see them play on Christmas Day. How about you?
Me as well, for sure. But
that's a lot of money to give up too.
Yeah, that is a lot of money to give up. But the circumstances, how the season was pushed back.
I think there's a lot of teams that haven't played since March. Exactly, I don't want to hear this excuse of, we're too tired. I can hear it for 4 teams.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll even max 4 teams. 6. Max 4 teams I'll hear that from. Okay. I'll hear that from Denver, and I'll hear that from the Clippers in LA and all that stuff. But I'm not hearing from
Clippers been posted.
Like, you know, I'll hear that from the Lakers and and Miami, Boston, and Denver, but not the Clippers.
Yeah,
like,
not the Clips.
They can chill at
Toronto.
Yeah, they can do what they got to do, but I don't know, man. That's a lot of money to give up. That's a long time. Like, there's not much going on now. Elections are over. Football's almost done. Is it not? Like,
no, we're like midway through the season.
Midway.
You fumble in the bag right there, bro. It's the vino talking, ladies and gentlemen.
if you've got to this point, you should be just as drunk as we are.
For real. Take a shot every time we take a sip.
Or we stumble.
You want them.
You want them real turn.
Yeah, for real.
They deserve it, man.
That was dope, though.
Oh.
That was dope. Another great episode on the Bottom Line podcast with my friends Raz, Hector, and Joe. I enjoyed this glass of wine. I think this one was my favorite for the night.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one
I haven't
too.
finished it, but I definitely will.
Yeah, you got it right now. Chug.
Not chugging it. But today we talked about the election, the big news of the week, Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Joe Biden is our
Not
ours.
Yeah.
I should.
We are Canadian.
A lot of people
ladies and
claimed it, though.
gentlemen.
A lot of people around the world were
Yeah,
claiming
of
it,
course.
but I'm not going to do that. He's the U.S. president-elect. We also talked about what we were watching throughout the week, talked about team dynamics in business, sports, and when do we think the NBA season is going to come back? Not when it's coming back, but why it should come back a little earlier than it should, than they proposed it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great episode. Thank you guys for coming through. I appreciate everyone for listening to us. Follow us on Instagram at The Bottom Line Pod and our social media and our YouTube channel at The Bottom Line. Make sure you listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. And we will catch you guys next week with another bottle of vino.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen.